This is IBM Museum. And I wanted to start this video from this perspective of my Anchor webcam, just right off the Mul 30 that I've been working with. Now, this Mul 30 has the revision 00 BIOS. So in a previous video, I went through and demonstrated the ROM-BASIC program to show the character set that's on that BIOS. It later changed. For this setup, what I've done, and I'm not going through and necessarily tearing down or going through and using my maxed Mul 30 that is below this, but I'm going through it. I pulled the adapter it's called the PS2 display adapter. It's on an 8-bit bus, and it was released by IBM as a way to put VGA on the Mul 30 like this, as well as even the older Muls of the IBM XT, IBM AT, and it was the only VGA that IBM ever released on an adapter. It has the same actual silver cap VGA chip as the Mul 60 and Model 80 does. And the VGA on those, even on those microchannel PS2s, is 8-bit. It's the only implementation of a VGA feature connection, which MCGA had at the beginning, and later on, there are models that do not have the MCGA feature connector. But all I'm doing is I'm putting that in this minimalistic Mul 30 system. It still has the same BIOS. I kind of want to point out that I'm going so minimalistic that there actually aren't any SIMs. It's just going off of the 128 KB that's soldered onto the planar. It has the same BIOS chips. The only difference I've done is I've gone through and put that PS2 display adapter, and that is what is going to my video capture. So I'm going to go through, I'll have to pause the video later on, but I'm going to go through and switch over to powering the system up. This is by of course, my video capture on that video port and of the PS2 display adapter. And since there's no diskette drive, I don't have a diskette drive. I don't have a hard drive on this. I've got the riser in there. And of course, don't even have the PS2 mouse connected. So I get the errors, of course, and I haven't set the time and date. That's fine. It gives me the little clock symbol, and then it gives me the 601 for the diskette drive error. And so we just press F1 as it directs. Okay, and it's going to go through, and it's going to still try and, hey, I need a bootable drive. And it's telling me to put a diskette in the drive, a non-existent A drive. I don't have a diskette drive on this unit. And so if I do F1 another time, and of course, look at the characters as we go through, and this is as this is done, because one of the things you'll notice is that, and this is the initial splash screen of the ROM-BASIC. Of course, it hasn't found any other bootable device, so it just drops us into ROM-BASIC. Now, we are operating from the VGA, that adapter, the PS2 display adapter in the slot, not the MCGA on the planar in this instance. So the character set is actually, instead of the MCGA being the 8x16 pixels for a character, this is VGA. This is going to be 9x16. And we'll notice that even for the BIOS, the ROM extension, ROM BIOS extension of this VGA adapter, is actually dated for the 27th of October, 1986. So it is a little bit less than 2 months after that initial revision 00 BIOS of the MAL 30 that has that MCGA, that different MCGA or early character set that was later changed. And we've already gone to, I mean, we're still 6 months out from the release of the PS2s for sale being the 2nd of April 1987. So, but we can see even the change in this VGA font. So it's probably with the 9:16 pixels for this VGA character set. It looks like this was probably the beginning. This is the earliest dated example of we have that of the that character set in a VGA arrangement. And this is carried through to later on as well. The main visible point of that is the zeros going ovalized, not squared off really necessarily anymore, to distinguish them from a capital O. And so ahead of me typing into pausing and typing in the program again, this is a capital O, and this is a 0. So the dot in the center helps distinguish them from each other, but also that 0 is more ovalized now, and the capital O is squared off, just as some distinguishing point between them. So I'm going to go through and pause, and I will type in that same program listing that I had before, which is find my source, which is that. And I will, of course, change that notation at the top, that MAL 30 revision 00 BIOS. Well, yeah, the system has that, but I'm going to put in there that it's the PS2 display adapter for this listing. So as soon as I have that program typed in, I'll go through and start the video recording again. Okay, so I'm so confident in my typing. I went through and just had the listing up on the screen, copied over from my recording system to type it in with the caps lock on, just adjusting a lowercase. Took me a few minutes, of course, being a two-fingered typist, but I've got the listing up there. We can do, there shouldn't be an issue. Let's just go ahead and do an F2 to run. Let me go through and, well, I'll leave my webcam picture up here, and then I'll go through and drop now that we need to see this the character set a little bit better. And we can see the 0 there being ovalized with the dot in the center, and the capital O being on the next row down, one column earlier, of how it is looks to be squared off. And there's the rest of the characters. I think there was some other changes in there, but this can be compared. I can do a video, a capture, a screenshot of this as a comparison. And I will also, of course, go through and provide the link to where this is on the web, showing that VGA character set. And this is a 9:16 set. So there's going to be just some, a little bit of differences there. But people can go through and do a comparison. So I'm going to have other later videos, and I'm going to go over the MCGA the 8x16 character set on the later BIOSes, and I can even go through them one by one. I mean, I've got all those different BIOS versions. It's just maybe easy enough to go through and switch EPROMs or something else to show that those should be all the same. And I hope people are getting informed about it or find this relevant in some way, just a demonstration in real time showing how that character set changed during a particular time frame. You know, early MCGA had it one way, and then when the VGA, the earliest VGA that we see, came out, as well as later MCGA implementations, changed that character set around. So if you were informed and enjoyed this content, go ahead and click on that like button, please. As always, subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.